Cool. Everything's working. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming here. I'm Ondřej. That's me right here. But yeah, that's me. I'm UX lead, researcher, mentor. I'm trying to be everything. But most importantly, I'm working as a UX person in a company, small company, trying to introduce research there, trying to bring research to people and showcase how research can be meaningful for the company. Before I begin, you can get the slides there. I think it's going to be sent to somewhere or with the recording or whatever, or there is a link. So yeah, you can get it. And for the presentation, I started in a company. It's nearly 2 years ago right now, and I'm trying to build a research culture in there, something that people will come to you asking for research, bringing research. And I think I've been pretty successful there. So that's kind of the base of my presentation today. And another base will be all my previous jobs and everything covered all together. And one really important thing that's going to fill the whole presentation is that I'm a foodie. I really love food. And I do like to cook. I do like cookouts and bringing people together and bringing them the desirable portions and tastes and everything that they want. And during my last dinner party that I threw, I think I had around 15, 18 people. When I was preparing the dinner party, I realized that a lot of steps I'm doing with the dinner party is the same as I'm doing in the company. And it all clicked together as a nice metaphor to translate whatever the hell I'm doing in the kitchen to whatever the hell I'm doing in the company. So that's something that I want to translate to you and hopefully give you some answers, some leads to what you can do and so on. But before I begin, I have a question to you. If you can raise hands if you feel that your work is fully recognized in your company. At least someone. Okay, thank you. So this is the goal of my presentation today, trying to show you how you can get a little bit more from your work, from your presentations, from what you're doing. It can be research, it can be design, it can be nearly anything. You can really put it together because I think most of our work in UX is basically people work. You work with other designers, you work with stakeholders, you work with everyone. And everywhere you can make impact and you want to make impact, those things will be important. So first one is getting to know your guests. So let me start with a small story about Maria. Maria was my PM and I really struggled to reach her. We went back and forth. I had multiple meetings with her. And with one project, she came to me and she said like, hey, I don't have a topic, but I need to do research. Let's do research. Let's have some interviews. I have email addresses. Let's schedule interviews and let's do it. And that's tough. Like if you don't have a topic, if you don't have nothing, what you're going to do, there is no research to be done. So I asked her, let's work on a topic. Let's get some goals and so on. And she was like, yeah, there are some goals here and there, but mostly I need to get the interviews rolling and I need to get the work done. And another week, nearly the same. I tried to come up with some goals, with some research proposal or something just to grab her attention, and nothing. What worked? After some time, I had to thank my mentor there, but I just invited her to a coffee, informal coffee chat. We scheduled 30, 45 minutes over a coffee. There was one rule, no work talk. Like we cannot discuss work. From that 45 minutes, it went to hour and a half. obviously we discussed jobs and all the projects and everything, but I started to understand her. I started to understand her as a person. I started to understand her, where she's coming from in the company, where she's right now, and I started to understand where I can swoop in, and most importantly, why she needs those interviews. So it became obvious that she needs the interviews not because she wants research done. She wants interviews done because she wanted to have some backup for the roadmap she's building. And she wanted to showcase that I built the roadmap, here's some research done on the roadmap. And she didn't need that connection. She just needed some research to be done. So after that, everything changed. We spoke completely differently. That relationship itself was completely different. I knew I can get in there with some other topics. I knew why she needed research. So immediately I knew how to approach the interviews, and at the end how to do the research the way that's gonna fulfill both of our needs. She had some research done. I knew that the research can be tied to the roadmap, and at the end, it was pretty successful research. But why I'm saying that is we spent a lot of time going back and forth, not knowing what the other one wants, and all it took was just a small informal coffee chat that got us to know each other. So that's one of the important things, that knowing your guests coming to your dinner party or going anywhere, you need to understand who's coming. You need to know who they are influenced by, who they are influencing, who can help you and how they can help you. You need to know their expectations. It's really important to understand what they are coming into, what are their past experiences with research or whatever it is you're doing, because sometimes the experiences are really bad for reasons you can really change. So another example is in my current company, there were some people that really struggled with getting the research because all the time that there was some research being done, it took so long, like 2 months for a small 2 interviews and so on. So they didn't want to do the research, right? Like it's gonna take some time. It's gonna impact the development and so on. And that's something you can work with. You can showcase them. I'm gonna talk about it how later. So you can show them that it can be done quicker. It can be done better. And that's the experience that they have, to understand the experience and how to change that. And the last thing is knowing their tastes, knowing what grabs their attention, and knowing what their goals are. That's the Maria wanting to build that roadmap. She didn't need research. She wanted that roadmap. And that's where you can swoop in. And the important thing in here is that's a lot of information to know about someone, right? And you don't have one researcher, you don't have, one stakeholder, you have multiple. So how do you get to know that? It's not an easy answer. It's not black and white, but stakeholder interviews. That's something that I'm trying to introduce in the company to my colleagues. It can be from that informal coffee chat with Maria and just like talking to her, getting to know her, up to more formal things where you have some script, you talk to the people and you get to know them. It depends on you, on your company, but it's really important to do that. Not in the beginning, not only in the beginning, but throughout the whole stay in that company. If you want to know someone, try to know them as your users. And we as researchers or designers or whoever, We know how important it is to know the end user who's using our product. And if you're trying to deliver something to the stakeholder is your user. You need to know him, know them, and know how you can influence him. The second point is building desire with samples. And sorry if someone's hungry, there's going to be a lot of pictures of food. But yeah, this story is about David. David was one of my product owners, and we never really talked. We never really did anything together. He never showed the importance of research. Like, he never approached me, and he wasn't really that significant in the company for me at that time. So I didn't focus on him. But one time we were having a lunch together in the team, and David was kind of like off and on, and at the end he started complaining that he has a new product and he has 2 names for that product, and he cannot decide what name to choose. And I sensed that that small hesitation in his voice. Like, I can swoop in here and I can show him that, like, the research can help him with that. Like, that's all right. And the problem was he had 2 options and he had no time. So he had to decide on the name the next afternoon, I think. So it was the next day. And so he completely dismissed that research proposal or anything. And I was kind of adamant, and I tried to tell him that I can do it in 1 day. And I did. I stayed long in that work. I pulled some strings, reached out to my previous customers and tried to work something. It was dirty. It wasn't a research that I would be proud of, but it was research that was done. And in morning next day, I called David and I told him, like, look, I did six interviews with users. It's a small group. The sample is not ideal, but when I showed them the 2 names of the product, one of the names were really like bringing the point in, and the other one was good, but not that good. So I showed him just this small information, no fancy presentation, no readout, nothing. I just talked to him and told him the results, basically how I felt them, because it was so quickly done. I was amazed how David took all the information. Obviously, he chose the preferred name, but it's not about the name, right? The main impact of the research was not David choosing the name. The main impact was he came up to me after that, thanking me. And from that point, whenever he had something, he came up to me asking for more research, asking to do more. And that was exactly the thing that I wanted from that small research. I tried to show him the small things that can be done, whatever dirty, but can be impactful. So next time you're thinking about research, try to think about those low-hanging fruits, the things that you can really grab quickly and showcase your abilities on them, showcase your impact, how you can work, that you can work quickly, that you can pivot quickly, and it's going to leave that taste for more. Like, people will go back to you and say, like, I want something more. I want to get full. The good thing with quick and dirty low-hanging fruits is that you can get really quick feedback, not necessarily on the research, but on your approach, on how you communicate, you can get real quick feedback on the presentation to your stakeholders, and you can pivot and make the impact much bigger and better because you're turning it quickly. And the last thing is getting your hands dirty. That's what I'm talking the whole time, right? But I think it's important. Sometimes, at least me and I know from my colleagues, we as researchers tend to be rigorous. We tend to go by the methodology. It has to be, I don't know, like we have to have like everything scheduled and so on, because we know it's important for the data to be clean and the participants to have nice sampling and so on. It's not necessary all the time, and sometimes you can get much more with quick and dirty research. So you're thinking about impacting someone, try to think about those small things that you can grab. Now, something a little different. Oh, wow. Here we go. So think about your stakeholders, and you can say it aloud. You can think about it, but think if you have someone who loves data and numbers. Some stakeholders that just like go for the data. Or if you have someone who's amused only by user quotes and whatever the users are doing. Those are just two different types, but with research and with the work you're doing, you're trying to deliver, ways you can deliver it. Those two questions are just examples, but they bring me to a big point, and it's about knowing who you're delivering it to. And that's crafting to the taste of attendees. So those two examples, I'm going to share another story quickly. Maria, one of my marketing managers, lovely girl, and whenever I was delivering any presentation to her, whenever I showed anything with numbers, be it spreadsheet, be it just a chart with numbers, I noticed she's starting losing attention. Like, he grabbed her phone, started looking and messaging on her laptop. And yeah, I tried different approaches with her. And at the end, I completely disregarded all numbers, and I never presented her numbers again because she just didn't care. So all the presentations towards her from that point was looking at the user quotes or just the actionable insights or whatever it was that was important to me, but never numbers, because I know she was losing interest. I still don't know why. Maybe it was some bad experience or whatever, but yeah. And opposed to that, there is a Peter. Peter is a product manager and he loves numbers. And it's really funny because his love for numbers is he just wants to see them. He wants to share them. So whenever I showed him any charts or any tables, he was so amazed, and he immediately went and started sharing those numbers in Teams channels and started to like showcase the numbers. He didn't understand them at all. Like, after some time, I realized that he's just sharing the numbers, and sometimes he was sharing them with bad quotes or bad insights. It was just weird, but I realized that numbers are the way to get him, but then I have to put something in there that's gonna be impactful for the work. So that translating that numbers to the actions, to actionable insights was really important with him, and kind of shoving it to his mouth, force feeding him those insights just to grab his attention from the numbers. So knowing the attendees, knowing whoever you're presenting to, your stakeholders, will help you understand how you can approach them, how you can make that impact, and what goes, and on the same turn, what doesn't go. When you know that, you can tailor the dishes. So those were just two examples. We can go with many more, from that user quotes to just pictures. Or my colleague, she loves like putting video snippets in Teams chat. So just like pushing quotes from users through videos can be impactful. There is a lot of things you can try. You can get that quick feedback and try something different. And yeah, try something different. The important thing is, again, doing the stakeholder interviews, trying to find out what works for them. Doesn't go just by observing. Just ask them. Like, I've never had better response or better insights after a presentation than going to the retro meeting and asking, like, yeah, I presented with a new way. Was it working for you or not? They will usually tell you, like, they want to have that work done too. So that's really important. Next big important point is serving at the right time. So we all know the importance of food when we are hungry. We all know that when we are hungry, everything tastes better, right? So that's the same with research or anything you're doing at your job. So another story. I have a friend, Kate, and I delivered nice polished readout with everything she liked. Like, I spent so much time on that. And after that big long project, or during that long project, I usually have one-to-one scheduled with the stakeholders. We talk about the project so we can pivot and so on. With Kate in this project, those one-to-ones were often canceled, or she just like wasn't really in that meeting. And I didn't bother that much because the research was going right. Everything was working well. And at the end, I delivered the big readout. I was happy about that. And after 2 weeks, we had some retro session. We talked about it, and she mentioned that, yeah, it was cool and everything, but the decisions were made a few days before I delivered the readout. So bummer, and the research was for nothing. So I talked with her, and I realized that those canceled one-to-ones were basically because she was too busy with the work, and that was my fault. Like, I didn't follow up on the cancellations. I didn't try to reach out and see a little bit more. And yeah, that was definitely not delivered at the right time. So that's one important. And another story is about Ruben. Again, one of my friends who was struggling with some projects, and we had some one-to-ones again. And at one one-to-one, right? So at one of our meetings, he was all over the place. He didn't respond to my questions, and I just sensed something is not right, and he's not here. And I asked him, and he was like, "Yes, sorry, but this project is cool and everything, but tomorrow I have some board meeting that we need to make some decisions about this and that. And I was like, that's cool, and I do have answers for you. Like, I have some from the interviews I've done for the project. I have something that can help you deliver that presentation that he's making. And so we sat down on it. That one-to-one from 30 minutes went to 2.5 hours, but we grabbed some of the quotes, some of the insights that I've already had done, and just wasn't part of the huge big research that I was running. And it was one of the best presentations he's done, and it steered the whole roadmap towards whatever Ruben wanted. That's the point. But again, that was serving at the right time, like sensing the situation, swooping in and showcasing that we have data on that important day and time, and that had huge impact. And oh yeah, there is some text in here. Yeah, the way you can do that is, again, I'm not going to repeat stakeholder interviews, but just being in touch with them, because knowing when is the right time is not about nothing else than being there, being in the company of the stakeholders, talking with them, and having a good relationship with them. And everything I talked up until this point goes towards that, right? So having those stakeholder interviews, having those amuse-bouche, those small pieces of information that you can deliver, and being ready to steer the ship, change the research, and deliver more impact, it comes all together to being able to deliver at the right time. There is one thing that encapsulates this, and it's about knowing the stakeholders, knowing that you are the solution to their problems. So whenever you're doing research or even design or anything else, you're basically there to help them make decisions. And the stakeholders knowing that you can help them with whatever it is you're trying to do or they are trying to do is really important. So doing anything you can just to showcase that whenever they have questions, you can answer them or you can help them answer them. That's really important, and it's going to build that relationship. They're going to start trusting you, and they're going to approach you more and more with more and more important research projects. The last point in that 5-step program is sharing the food or sharing whatever you're doing, not keeping it to yourself, not keeping it for that one presentation you're going to deliver, and just nurturing your audience across the company. So another story is about my friend Mark. And when I started talking with Mark, like, we didn't have nothing much in common, and I never really saw any research opportunities because Mark is a head of, how do you call it now? Basically help desk or customer service or whatever it's now. So he was head of customer service. I've never done really before that research for customer service, but just in talking with Mark and sharing my previous studies to the team, one day he approached me and said, like, yeah, I saw one of your research you've done, and I'm thinking about something similar for our team and for the help desk themselves, like how the users are interacting. And I was like, yeah, that's fine. So completely different team, approached me like I've never done anything for them. But the thing is, doing that research, Mark was satisfied with that. And Mark started talking to our CEO. And I haven't noticed that before, but they were buddies. They were playing hockey together before that. And he was apparently boasting about the research I've done and the results and how it impacted the numbers and everything. And I think 2 weeks after I delivered the results, I got a call from CEO. So it was like, damn, what's happening? And it was all about like he wanted to know more about the research I've done, which was nice and cool. But it all brought me more to the table. It opened the doors, and from that point, I had the access to the CEO, and I did some research for the board meetings on themselves. Just for that, like just that way, like swooping in with Mark, sharing everything. So really nurturing the audience in your company can be beneficial even without you having the aim and trying to get to one point. Oh yeah, another word. So just to wrap that up, here are the 4/5 points. So we talk about getting to know your guests, getting to know who's coming, what's their expectations, what's their taste and desires, putting that together with some small samples, some small desirable bits and pieces, and getting your hands dirty. And with that, you can craft your readouts, you can craft the research itself to the taste of your attendees, of your stakeholders, and you will be ready to serve the food at the right time to maximize impact and satisfy whatever the current needs are. And you can do all of that with a stakeholder communication, being there, being present, knowing what they want, asking questions, doing stakeholder interviews. And lastly, be social, share your work, share whatever you're doing. I'm always trying to say over communicate. Some people hate me for that, but I would rather have much more in the team's channels than less and try to find out something. So with that, I think that's a wrap for me. So if you want, you can connect with me. And I think with the presentation done, there is definitely time for questions if you have something for me. And if not, we're gonna mingle together and have something, but